Just a second. There we go. What's up, everyone? Welcome to the show. I'm going to go ahead and get this set up so I can actually see your comments. I forgot to tell you about that. I'm a jerk. But if you have a second device, you can pull it up on the channel. That way you'll be able to see everyone. We'll just be hanging out here for a second while people come in. Look for feedback for that, right? All right. So, what's up, Christopher? We got people coming in right now. Thank you for joining us. Welcome to the Clutch. I am hanging out with Tom of TRReptiles today. What does TR stand for? Is it just your name or?
Yeah, it's my first name and last name. So my name is Thomas A. So just kind of called it TRReptiles. I'm not good at thinking up names and stuff like that. So just kind of went with the easy thing.
No, I don't really blame you there, man. I have issues myself. In all honesty, I think the clutch was my idea. Like, I didn't call it Fealys Clutch, but like calling it a clutch was my idea. And then my buddy was like, "You should call it Fealys Clutch." And I'm like, it sounds good, and I really like where it came from, just because of like what it represents, and obviously, if anyone that's read my little dialogue that I put on anything, it explains it out. But Clutch is a family, all that good stuff. I want people to feel like a family here.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
everyone has their own thing, but let's jump in here a little bit. So we're gonna talk about trusting in the process and just the process that breeding ball pythons entails. Which it's your first year. It's my first year. I think it's a really neat way to kind of bring each other together and just kind of show the differences that you get. It's all good. What's up, buddy? I let my son go play in the mud outside because it just rained. So I was like, you go be quiet.
It rained here too a little bit.
Oh, man.
We'll watch it later.
What's up, Jason? What's up, Tone? Iron Dog? All-time Reptiles? How you doing? Thank you, everyone, for joining in. So tell me a little bit, man. Like, tell me your origin story, I guess. Like, how did this come about?
It all kind of, I was really actually in the fish, and it started probably back in 2008, 2009 with that. And started, doing some research on that. Found out it really wasn't for me. I do love a fish tank. And then I had a recommended video. It was Brian Barczyk, kind of like how everyone pretty much got started. And just checked it out and just was blown away. I actually used to be really scared of snakes. Me and my dad used to go out on this golf course and collect golf balls and stuff. And we would catch the occasional garter snake and stuff like that. We came across this water snake one time, and I was 8 years old, and I didn't know any better. I thought it was like a cobra. I thought it was going to kill me and eat me and stuff. And it kind of got close to me, and I fell back into the creek and got all cut up by the rocks and stuff. So that kind of traumatized me at a young age. But just seeing Brian Barczyk's videos and stuff, and seeing him and Chewy get bit, just it was like nothing. So I was kind of intrigued by it. And the thing that kind of really got me was a bumblebee, a simple combo, just that yellow and that jet black striping. And I just kind of was hooked. Unfortunately, I kind of came into it at a bad time because I was engaged and we had like a 2-year engagement to pay for the wedding. So it really wasn't the time to get into ball pythons.
Right.
So I had to wait a while. And then next thing you knew, I I was I had my daughter. I'm sorry. I had my daughter, and 2015. And it was probably, she was coming up on a year, and I just kind of said to myself and my wife that, you know, there's always going to be a million reasons not to get into it, and if I don't get into it, I feel like I'm really going to regret it. And
Right.
in 2016, I started kind of talking to Justin Kabelka, because he was probably one of the first people I saw on YouTube besides Brian Barczyk. And he answered me instantly and gave me a lot of help, a lot of advice, worked me through a lot of things, still gives me advice today if I text him or message him or whatever.
That's
And,
awesome, man.
you know, I bought all my first snakes from him, bought 6 snakes from him, and it just kind of just took off from there. And I just was instantly hooked and just never looked back.
You know, it's funny. Like we throw out the. I'm not even gonna say the names. Like these big breeders that have been around for a little while, and they're the reason why we get into the industry. But I've talked to a couple. Well, I've talked to more than a couple of people on my channel, but it seems like a lot of people have started like they go and they watched a video from Brian, and then or they watched videos from Justin or Miguel or something, and then they ended up buying their first real serious animal from there. Like I was always in reptiles. Like my wife finally gave me the green light one day. Well, she didn't know she gave me the green light, but she was like, "Hey, I kind of want a snake." And I was like, "You don't want to do that." And she's like, "No, I've been watching these videos by Brian Barczyk, and I think I really want a snake." I was like, "You don't want to do it?" She's like, well, can we go look?" I was like, "Yeah, let's go look." And we ended up coming home that night with a like 4.5, 5 foot boa constrictor. And then within the next, I think 6 months, our collection jumped up to over 20 snakes. So
Wow.
I was like, it's addiction. It's an addiction. It always has been for me. But I find it really funny because a lot of my breeding came from Brian's stock at BHB. I was like, I waited and waited and waited. Like I watched his website for freaking probably around 5 or 6 months. And I was like, okay, this one, this one, this one, this one. These are the ones I want. That's going to be my breeders. And then like we have the ones that if they never breed, I'm okay with. They're the son's pet or they're the wife's pet.
Hey,
Stuff like that. And then I really started diving into breeders. But I don't want to jump into all that. I'll talk forever on that. So
yeah.
you talked about going in and starting, and you started breeding because you watched the videos. How, or not how, but where do you want to take this? Like, is this going to be fully small time hobby, extra cash flow, go visit stuff? Is this something that you really want to dive into wholeheartedly? Like, where do you see TRReptiles?
You know, I've gone back and forth with that where I want it to go. You know, I kind of think with a family and 2 kids, possibly more on the way, I think it would definitely be a tough thing for me to jump into full time. You know, the market's, I think, very good, even though I haven't sold much, or snakes that I've bought that I've decided to go another way with, and I've, you know, sold them, I think, for pretty good prices. And just hearing people talk about like Ozzy Boys and Justin on podcasts and stuff like that, how good the market is compared to, you know, what it was then. And I've even seen it actually too a little bit, because even though I wasn't doing anything with it during my engagement, getting married, I've seen, you know, the new snakes come in, just how things, you know, have been going and stuff. You know, this goes back to 2009. That's, you know, 10 years ago now.
Right.
And, you know, so it's definitely, things have definitely changed. I just kind of find it hard to jump into that with a family and stuff. It would really depend on how things were going for me. Because even with my current job right now, I probably pay for half of my health benefits, and I pay for all of my kids' benefits. So, you know, so that's probably my biggest thing. really would be, I'd have to go full board paying for health benefits, for myself and, everyone else. I mean,
Right.
everyone has their own rhyme and reason, but I definitely would like it to be some sort of extra cash flow. Um, I wouldn't mind that at all. And it's funny because a lot of people always make it seem like this isn't an investment, it's not a business, it's a hobby, and to some people, it's all how you treat it and stuff like that. It's definitely a hobby for me, but this was definitely an investment. I've invested a significant amount of money into these snakes, into racks, into building a room in the basement.
Absolutely.
That's not even done yet. I still have, things to do. And, that money, if you sit back and look at it, if your wife sits back and looks at it,
I'd be in trouble.
yeah, I
I
mean,
would be in trouble.
what she probably could have done with that amount of money, is just, it's ridiculous. But she's very supportive of me and stuff like that. She doesn't understand it, so she does ask a lot, like, how are the females doing? You got eggs yet? She doesn't understand the process, especially when I tell her. She's just like, okay, but basically, to your question, I basically would like to see it come in to just a nice extra cash flow income, basically, and just see where it goes if we want to jump in full time down the road.
And see, there's nothing wrong with that. I wholeheartedly agree with that. I know everyone has different ideas. All Time Reptiles asked, once you start having babies, do you plan on vending at expos?
I probably will. There's not that many great shows by me. I have a really big show, Hamburg, up in upstate Pennsylvania. It's a pretty big show. A lot of people have mixed feelings about it. There's one that's like 5 minutes from my house. It's not, the biggest show. So I probably will, just to get that experience and see, kind of how things go. But I think online would probably be my primary, thing. Weekends are kind of, for the family for the most part.
Right. Well, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. So,
Andy, put the dog down.
I remember, I don't know if you remember this, but I remember I think it was about a year ago when we first started talking. And I was like, hey, man. And just kind of joking around and just kind of feeling you out. And I remember like talking to you about one of your videos where you just really started pulling in some like investment quality ball pythons. I don't know if you remember this, and I'm not trying to put you on the spot if you don't. It's all good, man. Don't worry
I
about
kind of do, and
but
I kind of don't.
I remember talking to you about it and talking to Miguel and talking to Jim. And everyone's like, dude, you got to pay attention to freaking Tom, man. Like, this dude's collections, he's a sleeper, basically, is what we're saying. Like, you've been the sleeper for the past 2 years. You have like this ridiculous freaking gene pool in your basement or your snake room right now. You're growing them all up to hit that breeder size, and you're finally starting what you looked into. I think it was like 2-3 years ago. So that's freaking amazing, man. And
yeah, thank you.
You're one of the people I feel like did it the right way. Like, you took your time and you really picked what you wanted. You weren't like me and said, oh, that's pretty, that's pretty, that's pretty. I want that as a breeder. I want that. I want that. And then now I'm sitting here with like all these bell combos that I can make, but it's going to hide everything else that I have. Or I'm sitting here with like a bunch of enhancer genes, which are great, but at the end of the day, I'm not able to make that. Well, I have a few that'll possibly give me the opportunity to make that big, I don't know how I want to put this. I guess big ticket snake,
Mm-hmm.
But tell us a little bit about, I guess, the process, man. Like, you've literally been here for 2 years just growing your snakes, researching, doing what you had to do, and now it's time for you to like blossom into your flower, so to speak, and just take control of the market. Like,
Yeah.
tell us about that whole process.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Those kind words, man. But there are things that I bought just to buy. I had a spot nose Mojave, and I went up giving that to Porter's Pythons for his auction because it was a male, and I didn't have anything to do with it. Really didn't fit in my plans. When the Magma came out, a lot of people called me crazy, but I had a fire Yellowbelly red stripe, and I was like talking to a couple people, and I was thinking like, I think I'm going to sell it because what I bought him for is going to be worth a lot more, especially because he was breeder size.
Right.
And it maybe if I had some clown females or something like that would have been ready this year, maybe I would have kept him back to make some hats and all that, and then pursue that project. But I made a decision to get rid of him. I went up selling him to Chris at Ball Pythons 101, and he's actually breeding for him, and he should be
whoa. Hey, calm down. You're good. Sorry. My son.
He should be getting a clutch from him, hopefully, to a clown female. So, there's things I bought. I have a Spark Girl. I don't really have anything really to do with. I have a Yellowbelly asphalt male that I really haven't shown off that much that I got from Miguel. And, I could put it, to her. She's not really breeder ready yet or anything like that. But I really try to somewhat go my own direction and somewhat get stuff that is the same direction as other people, because with me just starting out, I kind of feel like I have to go the same direction as people, make some of the same things to go another direction. I'm not going to be able to, just go completely into left field, just starting out and all that. I could if I had the money for it, but don't really have that. Everything I have, I think I spent a good enough amount of money on. Probably the most exciting thing I have coming up, and she's not going to be ready for about 2 years, is I got a special Posh Gene X hep hide I got him from Mike McGrath, and talking with
that was you. Okay, I know who it is now.
So talking with them, it seems like it's pretty much probable Gene X. But even if it's not, special pies I think are really freaking wicked and amazing. I'm not trying to make statements here like they blow OD out of the water or anything like that, but I think they're right there, with them. If you look up on Google a fire special pied, I think it's pretty lit. So it's definitely a direction that I want to go, and there's not many of them out there.
All right. So all-time reptiles hooking it up with all the questions.
Right.
What genes do you like or do you have to work with? So just kind of.
I mean, there's not really much out there that I don't like. A lot of people have been posting stuff about the spider gene and are down on the spider gene. I think it's pretty cool. I don't have it in my collection. I don't really know if I plan on working with it. Ball Python Shed made that spider cinnamon freeway, and that thing was just unbelievably, cool looking. But I really want to deal with a lot of recessive stuff. That's really kind of where I've kind of, honed in a lot of my projects. If I go anywhere outside of recessive, it would definitely be in the freeway project. I really like super asphalts. I really like anything to do with freeway, or really the Yellowbelly complex in general is really, kind of what I like.
What's up, Joel? That's awesome, man. Like, Yellowbelly really does offers so much to us. It really does. It's genes like that, though, I think, that everyone feels everyone feels like it's been played in so many different combos that they just forget about it, or they kind of go to sleep on it a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
which is fine with me because you can't go wrong with putting Yellowbelly into anything, really. But
Yeah, I like Yellowbelly and really anything to do with it. There's definitely been a lot of combos with. There's probably Yellowbelly's probably right there with Pastel with being in a lot of combos, and
right.
you don't really hear the negativity about Yellowbelly like you do Pastel. But I really just don't think you can go wrong with it. It enhances, so many things, and there's just I think there's still a lot to do, with that complex.
So, for those that are here, uh, you can put your questions down. We will definitely be asking Tom as we go along. But I'm gonna try to refocus myself because I jump all over the place. I'm really bad about this. I don't know if you've
Cool.
watched any of the previous interviews or stuff, but I have a hard time if I don't write it down and like
Yeah,
check my list
I've
over
been
and over
really,
again.
really bad with YouTube. I am so backed up with stuff that I need to watch on your channel, Joel's, Miguel's, Brian Barcheck's, even Justin's. Like I've just been really bad with it lately.
Uh, it is what it is, brother. Like you can't. We, as much as I'm sure some of us would love to, we can't just sit there and watch YouTube all day. Uh, I really would love to some days. Well, I guess with my new job, it's not that hard. I can at least listen to it all day, so I can save it to a play later list and then just run that list,
Yeah.
because I'm just staring at a road listening to whatever happens. So I can do it in that aspect now, but to really be able to pay attention, I
Yeah,
guess, is hard.
I try to listen to stuff in the car because I got like a long drive in, but a lot of times, I gotta take the kids to daycare. Oldest wants to listen to Moana and Frozen and Trolls and all that. That kind of trumps it at times.
uh, so Joel had a question. What's on the list for 2019? Any pickups you're considering?
Um, I've really spent a lot in 2018. I've gotten a lot of pickups in 2018. I probably bought too much stuff. 2019, I think a lot of it'll depend on, what I hatch and how much I sell. Um, if anyone pays attention to my Instagram at all, I have a pastel het puzzle male breeding to a 50% het puzzle female that I'm quite confident she's 100% het puzzle. I've talked with many people, and it's really hard to say whether she is or not. Like whether there are markers or not. I've heard really busy pattern is, markers for them.
Yeah.
Don't quote me on that. I mean, if you look up my pastel het puzzle male
Well,
pattern
there's
and is insane. So I'm definitely hoping to at least get some visual puzzles from them, prove her out hopefully. If I don't, I think it's very necessary for me to buy a
yeah.
male puzzle. The amount of people that have been getting into the project, it's something that's been on my radar for a while. I wish I would have not gotten certain things and went and got a puzzle male and some good het females. And I probably could have been a little bit ahead of the game with certain things, but it's not really how it played out. I wound up getting a 1.2 50% het, and then I was like, well, I really, you know, that's really a gamble because the male could not prove, but the female could prove. So I just went and got a male. Had to kind of ensure that. Um, so that probably would be my biggest pickup is some puzzle stuff.
And I would fair to venture. Well, so the puzzle game, a lot of people aren't jumping. Well, there's people jumping into it, but it's nowhere near what a lot of people would think, I guess, because that price tag has been held. Like the puzzle gene is holding its value. You're gonna get a breeder het for female for $3,000. Like you're not, at least if you're going through Sean. Like he's finishing off his collection right now, and I've talked to him multiple times. I'd like to think that I wouldn't say a friendship, but we're really good acquaintances now because we talk. But just looking at the prices, like that's a gene that if you're gonna play into and you're gonna dive all in, it's gonna be good. And right now is probably the time to do it. I wish I had the money to invest in it.
Yeah.
But it's just that's a gene you're gonna pay for, plain and simple. Like you're not gonna find someone lowball that gene right now.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's well worth it, to get into it. It really does some amazing stuff. It works really well with pastel, which I'm sure people are tired of hearing about pastel. But, I think it's a really, really, great gene. And the added bonus is that it's a recessive gene too.
Mm-hmm.
So it's definitely going to hold its, value for a while. But, people have put it up there saying it's going to be the next clown. I don't know. I think it's too early to call that and say that. It very much well could be. But out of all of it's not really a new project that's been around there for a while, but out of any new project you want to get into, I mean, that's definitely a project I would suggest getting into. I mean, I'm sure people like to get into the Monarch, the Monsoon, which are also receptive. But, I just think puzzle is just on a different, level than a lot of those other, things. Well, probably not on the same level as Monsoon. That's like a freak of nature how that thing is. But, that's definitely what I like, and I would definitely like to work with.
What do you think the coolest combo for puzzle is so far? And what do you want to see it put to? I guess would be a good way to extrapolate on that question.
I mean, what Miguel has, that lesser platinum puzzle, that is pretty badass right there. I can't really think of any.
Sean Bradley special, man.
Yeah. I mean, the banana puzzle is really cool too because you got the puzzle pattern and you have that banana color. That's really cool too. I don't know. I really would like to see everything in the puzzle. You haven't seen much dark stuff in puzzle. It's always been really light stuff. So that would definitely be a decent way to go. I mean, the other thing you got to think about with this project is that if you're getting into it, it's not new, but it's still so young that if you want it in certain things, you're going to have to make your own hat. So it's definitely going to be a very long-term project. If you want something dark, someone could have it. I haven't seen it for sale, but, someone could have a mahogany hat puzzle. And if I had to guess, I would probably say maybe Justin has it because he works with mahogany. He has that, confusion hat puzzle.
Right.
But, that's just kind of how it's going to be. Either that or you're going to pay a lot, for a hat that no one else, has out there.
Exactly. I think, so me and Joel were talking about this when I visited him last week. And I know it's going to come out this year. Like, I have that feeling it's coming out this year, but the GHI puzzle is going to come out.
Yeah, so someone had that up. I think it was maybe I saw that wrong. I could have swore I saw a GHI hat puzzle to puzzle. Could have swore I saw that.
Yeah, I know people are working that combo for visuals this year, but I can't remember who it was. And I feel like a dick for that because I love to give people their credit when credit is due.
Yeah, exactly.
But as soon as it comes out, I know everyone's going to be talking about it because you're talking about two of the most crazy pattern enhancing morphs out there, and to put them together is just I think it's gonna outdo the Monsoon. I really do.
Oh wow, that's big talk right there. I don't know. It's so tough to say, how things are going to go and all that. There have been people that are really high on the Magma project, and there's people that are really, low on the Magma project.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a lot of it is just, combos. Well, people are really into certain things, and people are really not into certain things.
Right.
Um, Everyone just has their preference and stuff, and there's some things that you hit that people are just like, wow. And there's some things that people hit, and some were like, wow, and some were like, it's all right.
Yeah, I hear you. So let's kind of get back to. Someone said puzzle, and we went off on a whole different tangent.
Yeah.
So first year, how many pairings do we have for your first year?
Oh man, see, I'm like you. I should have wrote this down because now I got to just think really quick. One, um, there should be 8. I thought my double hat Dreamsicle male would be ready to go, but I don't really think he will be, and I don't want to rush him or anything like that. And my one double hat Dreamsicle girl is huge, absolutely huge. So I've kind of dabbled, and I actually have 2 of them. I've kind of dabbled in whether I should put my pie male to them, and see if I get
Prove
some
out
pie,
one.
50%,
Mm-hmm.
het lab or something like that, and just kind of just take a gamble, on holding them back and stuff like that. But for the most part, it's basically pie to fire Yellowbelly het pied, and then I have spot nose het clown, spot nose Yellowbelly 50% het clown. So I'm hoping to really prove her out, and then I have the puzzle stuff going. And then I have Firefly and Pastel Enchi that I have clown going to that I'm hoping to, just get some hats for myself and, some hats that I can sell.
That's awesome, man. Like, I mean, that's the name of the game. At the end of the day, is well, I really like this stuff. Let's kind of sit here and think, well, I'm gonna make this because I don't want to pay for it. I mean, at the end of the day, you're still paying for it, but
Yeah.
it's not gonna be as much. Like I know you're working Dreamsicle, I'm working Dreamsicle. Freaking Jason over at Morph Mixology is working Dreamsicle, and
Yeah.
we've all kind of been in the loop together, talking like, I don't know if this is gonna prove. Like I know I have a Bumblebee 100% double het. I I have my lavender female that's going to be ready um, probably late this year, early next year.
Mm-hmm.
That I'm kind of figuring out. Well, do I want to place this here and see if the lavender proves out? Do I want to just make a bunch of 100% hets and wait a couple years and see if I can add a couple genes in, or what do I want to do? Because
Yeah.
I think once I hit that one, if I hit more than one, that would be awesome. But once I hit that one for my collection, that's probably going to be it for me. Like, I'm going to say, okay, I got my Dreamsicle. I'm going
Well,
to
then you
sell
gotta
this
try for
whole
the
project,
then you
you
gotta try
know?
for the Yellowbelly Dreamsicle.
Yeah. Like, I mean, you're going to keep pushing, obviously, but I think, like, I messed up in getting one that has spiders. So now I gotta work the spider out of it and all this. So it's gonna backtrack me. So I'm looking at like 10 years down the road with that project. But I figure like after 10 years I should have my awesome freaking Dreamsicle and I can sell everything for that project out, Not
Yeah.
a big deal, but
Yeah.
oh
Yeah.
geez.
There's so many different ways we can go, and just the different things that we want to do
Yeah.
and stuff like that. So I mean, who knows? You could hit it and not have to wait 10 years and not even have to worry about the spider. So, it all depends on how things go. But, I'm not going to push the male. And I've been back and forth about doing the pied with, to them because I could hold them back and, get nothing out of them, and
Right.
so we'll see what happens. I mean,
Right.
it's not going to kill the girls if they don't breed this year or anything like that. They could
Exactly.
wait another year.
So obviously you're working puzzle.
Yes.
You said you have 8. If you had your choice right now on one gene that you don't have in the collection that you could work with, what would that one gene be?
Ooh. I'd say it's probably a toss up between Sunset and the Monsoon. Probably a toss up between them.
Both recessives. I love where your head is. I think that's the name of the game, though.
Yeah, I do. I really like recessives. I'm really excited about proving out that spot nose Yellowbelly 50% het clown. I actually also have a orange dream leopard het pied 50% het clown. So I wouldn't mind trying to prove her out too, and wait on getting some OD or leopard pieds or anything like that. It's just something about it, especially this puzzle stuff too, because I got this stuff early on, and like I said, I regret not getting just a puzzle male and some good hats to go with it. But to be able to prove it out, I think would be it would be a better feeling than actually having it.
Absolutely. I think I'm right there with you, man. Like, I really love the Sunset project.
Yeah.
I'm hoping this is gonna sound bad, but I'm really hoping that his hets to breed. They'll be like, "Hey, Joel, hook a brother up."
Yeah, Joel went really. I think he went a really good direction with that project. That's very, very good for him. But yeah, Sunset, just those colors and stuff, and I just don't think you can really go wrong with that. And then Monsoon with that pattern. I mean, there's still a lot to say. I think Dave Green, who started the project, really went a really good direction with it, and I think we're really going to start seeing some really nice combos with it, and it'll really electrify people.
Absolutely. Okay, hold on. People are being jokesters. I'm trying to make sure I didn't miss a question. Wait, so you plan your Okay, that was a joke. That was a good one, Joel. Where, I guess, like, we're looking at hobbies. Like you said, you're going to keep it as a hobby. Keeping it as a hobby, we all know we have that stopping point. So, with where your collection is right now, where's your stopping point? Like, how many snakes is the absolute max? This is all I can bring in. This is all I can take care of right now.
I don't even know where that is yet. I've thought about that a lot. And, I think when you first start out, you're like, I'm going to have 250, breeder females. And, I mean, this is, even with the collection size I have now of only 29, snakes, is still really, it's still a lot of work, and then you got a job, full-time job, you got a family on top of that too. So, all right, sweetie. So I don't really know where I would want to be. If I had to answer now and take a guess, I'd say probably anywhere between 25 and maybe 50 breeder females, and I think that's maybe even a stretch. Not every female is going to go every year, so if I could probably do maybe 25 to 45 clutches, I don't think that would be too big, because you got to think, you never know how many eggs you're going to get, how many babies you're going to have, how much you're going to hold back. And my biggest thing is, feeding the snakes too. I want to make sure I'm able to feed all the snakes. So if you're breeding your own rats, that in itself is going to take up a lot of your time. I recently switched to ASFs, and I know they're not legal everywhere. I know a lot of people have their opinions about them. And, I haven't had the best of luck with them. I had a lot of, babies and stuff, and, an unfortunate thing happened with them. And, now I'm kind of, rebuilding everything. And I have to go out and buy my own rodents, which is not a, cheap thing whatsoever. But
I miss TRReptiles.
you can see it. But a lot of that to me is a factor because I want to make sure that they eat every week.
Right.
When you get hatchlings, something you're holding back, or even you're selling, you're going to feed that. Every like 3 days, maybe 4 days or something like that. I want to make sure I get everything up to a good size. I'm not going to pound it with food and rush it, but I definitely want to be able to, feed it well. Like right now, I'm probably paying, and they give me like a 15% discount. So I probably, depending on how much I order, I probably am spending anywhere between $70 to $80 a week, on rats, which, that's, money I could put somewhere else easily.
Yeah. That's a lot.
But then again, doing your own rodents, that's a process in itself. It's time. You got to have, your own area. Like I have them in the garage. I could have rats going really well during the spring and summertime, and part of fall. But then once the wintertime hits, I don't have a room out there. They're not going to do anything with those temps dropping like that.
Right. Okay. So I'm going to jump into a question real quick, and then I'm going to bring it back a little bit. So give me just a second. I got to find it again.
All right.
Okay. Are there any genes you think have run their course or that are overdone?
I think it's like a tough question really to say for someone new like me. I still think that there's plenty of things that have people say run their course that are still, important to put into new stuff coming in. I don't know if there's a pastel monsoon out there or anything like that. So I don't really think there is anything like that. To kind of flip that, I think that when people start talking about genes that have run their course and this, and that, I think people, when they're buying, kind of like what we touched on earlier, you kind of just got to be smart in what you're buying.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to be able to get the best of everything. You're not going to be able to spend a ton of money. You're going to have to get, 50%, have puzzles and take time and try to prove that kind of stuff out. To get there, and people are going to surpass you. It's going to be a thing where you're going to be like, well, I wish I was in their shoes and stuff. And that's just not the game. I think someone said in the comments earlier, you don't want to chase people. You just kind of want to, Justin said it best, you want to follow your own road, and that's what you need to do. Justin has a great collection. A lot of people want to make what he has, and you're going to have to make what he has to get to a certain point with other projects. And I mean, Justin he's a very smart mind. So I'm sure if you're thinking of getting a magma and going a certain different direction with, I'm sure he's already there, or he's thinking of that exact same thing too. But, I think people, they just got to buy smart, and they just got to, breed what they want to breed, but you have to do it in a certain limitation and factor.
So getting back to the process, I think pretty much everyone in here, between either watching videos or being a breeder themselves, knows the actual process. So I'm not going to dumb it down and be like, okay, we do this, we do this, we do this. That's for other videos. That's not for this. But I think we need to kind of get back to what I had thought of talking about. What's the hardest part of the process for you right now? What's making Tom sweat right now?
Whether or not these females are going to go. I was talking with Joel actually, and we were saying how it's just like this is like a chess match. You know, you could go this way, and then this happens. You could go this way, and then that happens. You know, um, I even talked to MJ of the snake trap, and you know, I think I put it out there, and I've kind of gotten hung up on the signs and stuff like that. Of, you know, oh, they're gonna ovulate. Like my fire Yellowbelly
Mm-hmm.
Hep, you know, she didn't eat last week, and she's been staying on the warm side. And a lot of people say that's an indication, you know, she's gonna, you know, ovulate or you know whatever. And she wound up eating this past week. I feed every Saturday, and you know, so I was like, all right, well, I
Dude, I
guess,
cried for you on that one.
yeah,
Like right when I saw the story, I was like, "Fuck, it's gonna eat." Oh no.
yeah. I mean, she's on the top of the rack, so
Yeah.
I threw it in there first, and as soon as I threw it in, I heard it, and I was like,
You
damn.
heard this strike in your.
Yeah, I heard the squeal, and I was like, damn. I was like, you know, maybe I'm wrong, you know. But then people have messaged me and say, you know, Miguel said, you know, they have had, you know, he had 2 snakes that ate throughout the entire breeding season, all the way up until eggs, and you know, so you don't really know really what it is. But MJ told me he's like, you know, don't get hung up on uh, the signs and stuff like that. Just look for that ovulation, and you know, when you see it, you're going to notice it. And from seeing people getting ovulations and seeing it on Instagram, I'm quite sure I'll notice it if I see it. So I'm just going to just kind of just take a step back, just keep feeding, keep breeding, give the males breaks and stuff, and um, you know, just wait to see what it is they do. I mean, a lot of them have had at least 3 to 5 locks, you know, so they've had a good amount of locks. Kind of makes me wish I had someone near me that had an ultrasound or something to help me out. But you know, it's my first year. I'm just going to kind of go old school, and I think that's
Yep.
an investment down the road, you know, for something, you know, like that. Um, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. I gave all the males a week off last week, so Monday night will be the night to throw everybody in, you know, back in, pair them up, and you know, see what's going on.
And see, I messed up because I had my girls, and this is fault of my own, and this is why people need to keep records because I had my girls' shed cycle wrong, and so I put a male in while I never saw her go into blue because I was on the road, and obviously my wife takes care of the animals while I'm on the road.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, she should have already shed. Maybe the wife took it out, things like that, right? So the documentation is a little messed up right now. But she had cleared out and she was waiting to shed. Like she wasn't in blue anymore. She was in that 2 to 3 day stage where she's about to shed. And I put the male in there. Nothing happened. Nothing happened. I was like, what the hell? Like these guys have locked a couple of times for me. And luckily we got the weather today. So I took them out 3 days ago, maybe.
Uh-huh.
And we got the weather today. And I was showing my buddies yesterday how to sex a snake because I had a bunch of friends that were scared of snakes and they had all these questions. So we had a baby shower yesterday, and after the baby shower, the people that wanted to stay and learn about snakes hung out, drank beers, and we did our thing. So I popped one of my males, and he ended up putting his love juice all over me, and I wiped it on that female. And then the rain came today, and I was like, "Oh, this is perfect." Like, I'm just gonna go for it, you know. But
Yeah.
is what it is. Let me see here. I saw a question real quick. I'm sorry. Everyone talks about a plan when breeding. How do you feel about a backup male that's proven, even if it delays the vision?
I did actually get a backup male because for my clown stuff, I bought a breeder ready lesser clown from Mike. He's a big boy. He's like 1,500 grams, and my blade clown male that I got that I raised from hatching, I was a little worried about, you know, like being his first time and stuff like that. And he's actually done better than the lesser clown, surprisingly. He's got way more lockups, and I mean, he just does it every time. But I thought it was an important purchase because if he didn't do anything for me, that's 4 girls that we're just going to have another year off, basically. And I waited so long. I'm patient, and there's times I'm not very patient, with things. But this is something I was like, I got to do. I got to, get this backup meal.
Right.
For the amount of girls that I'm putting in there, and of course, I mean, who wouldn't mind a lesser spot nose clown, or if I get lucky enough, a spot nose Yellowbelly lesser clown, if that girl proves. But I don't want to be too male heavy, but I definitely thought that was important for at least this year, and I'm sure at some point I'll move on from one of them, or maybe both of them. I probably won't ever move on from the Blake clown. He'll probably just stay here forever, whether he breeds or not. I've grown an attraction to him. He's got this cool heart on his head, and he's just when I actually got him from someone, I got him in December of 2016, and I probably shouldn't have got him shipped because it was pretty cold out, and when he was shipped, he didn't have a heat pack, and I really wasn't on social media or YouTube back then like I am now, so no one was really aware of this. But he was pretty fortunate that he was still here. I had to warm him up, and it took a while, and
Right.
it's done really great for me and all that.
So what's your favorite part of the process, I guess, is so we've talked about the part that has been giving you the headache.
Yeah.
What's your favorite part? Is it the feeding? Is it the making, the breeding plans? What's your favorite part?
Definitely making breeding plans, because I've definitely switched, some stuff up for what it is I want to do. That's always fun, and I think everyone goes through that where they're constantly going to change it, all the time, even during the breeding season, especially if they have a bigger collection and more males and females to spread around. Feeding is always fun because I feed live, and a lot of people don't like that, but it's more fun for me to see that they're actually eating and stuff, not that they're taking down this rat or anything like that. I know I always share a bunch of stories and stuff like that whenever they eat every week. I just kind of just do it just to show everyone that they're eating and stuff like that. This is what they're doing, and just showing them grow. I mean, everything I have except for the Firefly and the Pastel NG, I've grown from hatchling, and that to me has just been one of the greatest things. Like to have this double head Dreamsicle that's well over 2,000 grams. To when I got her, she was probably 200 grams. To have grown her to that now, to me, it's just it's just an awesome thing to do. Or even the Fire Yellowbelly Hep Hide, she's like 1,800 grams, and to see her breeding and stuff, to me it's just really rewarding. Just the whole journey and everything. And I've tried to document a lot of that. Chris of Ball Pythons 101 told me, that's one of the biggest things documented. And that's what I try to do with Instagram. I'm not really on Facebook, not too much of a fan of it. I've definitely slacked on YouTube. YouTube, I just kind of just use my phone. So it kind of becomes a little difficult to, do stuff and edit the videos and upload stuff. And, with the amount of room you have on your phone, hopefully I'll get a camera at some point. But, the whole process and journey has just been really, awesome. I mean, the thing I have to say is the people I've met. I've met maybe 2 people personally that are local to me that I've been talking to since I started doing this. And, you was one of them. Met so many people: Miguel, Mike, Jim, Dave Hardy, JH Pythons, Ball Python Projects, AP Reptile. So many people. If I forget to name you, I apologize. But, to me, that's really cool too, because there's just so many helpful people out there that are willing to help you. Talk to them every day about snakes, even about other stuff. And I think that's one of the coolest things as well too.
That's a huge, especially for us. Like I've been around reptiles the majority of my life now. Like I'm at the age I can say that, and that's bad. But I've been around reptiles for the majority of my life now, thankfully. But as far as like breeding and things like that, I really never thought I was gonna do it, and then I realized, well, I want all this. Like I want to create a little mini zoo, basically, so that I can educate locals on different reptile species and kind of hide fear and get rid of fear. But in order for me to do that, I have to breed and sell animals in order to kind of pay for that hobby in itself. So my reptile keeping hobby, yes, I could pay for that. For me to expand into that, I had to look into another avenue. And obviously that's where this came in and YouTube came in and things like that. But I think it's just the amount of support you get, regardless of what level you're at in this hobby, and the amount of information and care that people in this hobby will give you is just outstanding. Like you and me talk, I would say at least every 2 to 3 days minimum. It might not be very long, but it's every 2 to 3 days. There's people that I talk to probably almost every day. Um, and it's just, hey, how's this going? Hey, I saw your snake on your story. We chit chat about that for a second, and then we go back and we're actually talking about projects or what we'd like to see added in or things like that. And it helps all of us in the long run. I think the older days of people fighting each other or like trying to keep stuff kind of secretive is just out of, it's gone. Like we're at the point now where it's like, okay, this is what I'm going to make. This is the money that I have vested into this project, and this is the type of quality that I expect. You know what I have. Come and get it. Try to beat me, which is great. I think the healthy competition is what's really driving our market right now.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think there's definitely people that have, their secrets and their secret projects for all the right reason and stuff like that because they're putting a lot of time and effort into it. And the last thing they want to do is release it and then someone cut ahead of them. But I think people are definitely a lot more willing to help you and, take the time to let you
Sorry, my son's pretending he's a horse.
letting them come to their facility or them come to you and give you pointers and help you out and all that. I think that's great.
Oh yeah, like going with Joel last week, I was like, "Uh oh, Princess is up. I might have to run away for a second."
That's cool.
Going to Joel's last week, I was like, "Hey man, I'm in town. Is it cool if I come by for an hour or two?" He's like, "Dude, you don't even have to ask. Like, come over."
Yeah, exactly.
So, and then to see his level and see what he's doing, and it really, it makes you think about how you're doing your stuff, and then like with us, we're in completely different environments. So I know you and me sometimes talk about, well, this is how I have like my substrate, or this is how I set up. This is what I keep my temps at, or try to keep humidity at.
Yeah.
And I know with you, you're in a lot more humid environment. Like with me, I'll say, hey, yeah, I'm keeping it at like 40% humidity, but for me to keep it at 40% humidity, I'm spraying these damn tubs like 6 times a day.
Yeah.
Where you can almost get away with not freaking even spraying them. Like you just have the humidity.
My basement naturally is probably like 45%, humidity.
I'll be right back. I gotta grab Princess.
All right. Let's look at the comments. What? Yeah. No.
Big stinky butt. Do you see any other comments?
I was just going through them. A lot of it's people talking to each other.
I did not force my way in the door, Joel. I did ask if this is where the gangbang happens, but no, I'm just kidding. My wife's on here. She'll get pissed if she heard that.
And Joel says that, dude, 45%, that's crazy.
Yeah, like it's almost impossible down here. Like me and Joel are almost the same environment. So
yeah,
to see what he does and what I do, it helps out a lot. Like it's just hard, man.
Well, summertime that'll go up a lot higher. Like it's it's still kind of winter here, so that'll definitely go up once summertime hits. Spring, summer.
What are you doing? So, I think I caught this right. I don't know if you said it while we were live or before we went live, but I think you said 2 and possible on the way.
Say that again.
You said 2 kids and possible on the way.
Oh well, no one's
nothing planned.
Nothing planned. Nothing's going on now. But you never know what'll happen in the future. She's looking at me right now too. Like, what are you talking about? I have 2 girls.
Your wife's gonna get pissed.
Yeah, I have 2 girls. So like, I mean, you can't guarantee it to get a boy, but if we could guarantee it, we definitely would be having a third, and it definitely would be a boy. But there's no guarantees. So I don't know. It's 50-50 right now.
Dude, I don't know if you know. So we're a month away from having our second boy. So we had boy, girl, boy. And me and the wife were both just like, you know what? We're done. This is too much. But
you're lucky. It's almost like how many ball pythons do you want to have? How many kids do you want to have?
Yeah, it's all the same thing.
Yeah.
Oh, my wife caught me on the gangbang comment.
Yeah, I see that. Busted.
What are you doing? Oh man, I love it though. Like, so we know you want to keep it around 50. The hardest part is finding an ovulation, it seems, but I think it kind of falls into the title that we said is just trust the process, keep pairing, know what you have to do, and at the end of the day, it'll happen. It's just because I know with myself, I felt like I had an ovulation, and I posted it on Instagram, and everyone's like, "Yeah, it looks like one. That's freaking awesome." Blah blah blah. And then I started talking to a couple of my breeder friends, and they're like, "Well, what are you feeling?" I was like, "Well, if I rub my finger down her belly, it feels like it might be like a nickel size." And they're like, "Well, until you feel a quarter, it probably isn't an ovulation." All this and just going into like palpating and things like that. Like it's insane.
Yeah, I've tried. I'm lost in the sauce on that one.
Yeah, like that's just trying to palpate all of this is insane. Yeah. But it's what makes it fun, I think, like end of the day.
Yeah, I'm going to stay pretty confident and positive that, I think that what I've read so far, will go. You do your best to provide that right environment for them, get those temps right, the ambient right, and I've been pretty strict with my schedule and making sure of when I put them in.
Right.
It's always on a Monday night or Tuesday morning if I miss that night, and whenever they're done locking up, I take them out. Feeding day is every Saturday. And, I try to be really, strict with that and make sure that that's, what I do. Because I don't want to be all over the place and stuff. And I'm not the best with record keeping either. I do have reptile scan. I don't use it. I just kind of just mark on the tubs and stuff like that.
Right.
definitely would like to, after this breeding season, definitely get better with reptile scan and get some nice tags up there and stuff like that. But you know, for now, I'm just going to just do the old-fashioned write stuff down in the notebook.
No, that completely makes sense, man. I feel like you have to just kind of take it one day at a time. And I've heard all kinds of different stuff. Like, I thought the ovulation was there because she went off of food for like 3 weeks. They're like, oh, I'm going to get ovulation. I'm going to get the prelay shed, and it's time, you know? And then that didn't happen. And she went back on food. She started locking again. I was like, oh, I don't know if the heat got you and you reabsorbed or what the hell's going on. So the process starts all over again. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It is what it is. At the end of the day, it just means that she gains more size. She has more fat at the end of the time. So hopefully she doesn't lose as much weight. But
yeah, I've been pretty fortunate that ever since, as soon as I started the cool down process, the females have been pounding food. Now, all my males, except for my pastel het puzzle, are all off food. But I've been pretty fortunate with the females that they're pounding it. You know, like if I still try for the pied and the lesser clown, the lady clown, offer them a meal. But if they don't take it, I'll give it to someone else. You know, the firefly will take a second meal, and so will the pastel entry, even the spot nose Yellowbelly, 50% hat clown will. So I've been pretty fortunate where the only one that did eat one time, and it, you know, we talked about it, kind of threw me for a loop, was the fire Yellowbelly het pie. But everyone else just, it's like clockwork. They eat the very second I walk in that room and toss it in the tub.
see, I feel like that's kind of how it goes, though. And I feel like if we go back later on in the year and we talk or we do a live like this again, we're going to sit here, we're going to talk about this one, and we're going to laugh at each other because we're like, dude, like, it was so simple, but we were overthinking it at that time.
Yeah.
Because it's really...
Yeah, that's what a lot of people tell me. I'm just overthinking it, you know. But it's hard. It's really hard not to, you know, when it's your first time and you haven't done it before. You know, you're asking people the stupidest but the simplest questions, you know, and it's just hard to not overthink it and get worried that, you know, they're not going to go. And if they don't go, it's not a big deal, you know. But because it's been 2 years, you really want them to go. You're like, you know, I want to see you on a pile of eggs, you know.
We'll see you later, Joel. He did have one last question.
Hi, Joel.
What do you think is a sleeper gene right now?
Red gene.
Red gene?
Red gene.
Even after Mike made it, like, famous with his red gene ringer gene?
Yeah, because I still think people are sleeping on it. I think people like it, but there's not many single forms, you know, out there of, you know, red gene. And I've been pretty fortunate enough to grab 2 males that are just single gene red genes. It's a very subtle gene, and I don't know. I like it. I like what it does. I definitely like ringer gene too, but I'm more into the red gene part. I have the 2 red gene males, and I have a Blade Mojave red gene, and she's very red and also like a blood python. She's very nasty. She eats every time, and every time I open her tub, she bites me too. There's not a single day that goes by I don't think I get bit by her. But you know, I like it. You know, and a lot of people, it doesn't even have its own category on Morph Market,
right?
Because it's just, if you want to look for it, you got to go into you know, Blackhead or something like that and find it in there. because it's pretty much primarily been attached to, blackhead, everything. CC blackhead, red gene, ringer gene. But I would like to focus on singling it out and putting it into, other combos. Just has a really deep red. Guessing kind of compare it to red stripe with the redness that it has. But I haven't worked with it enough to really, really say that.
Awesome.
So we got someone else's order, and I got to keep all the food. So we got our order too.
Okay.
And some.
Okay. Oh Lord. Well, I am going to start wrapping this up real quick. I know you have your family too, so
Yeah.
I'm sure dinner's about ready if it's not getting cold in front of you. So
Nah, not yet.
What's your most, or how do I want to word this? Your most prized snake right now. What would it be?
Most prized snake. All of them. But if I have to pick,
that's a good answer.
It's going to be my special Posh Gene X heptide. That definitely would be. That's probably the biggest thing in the future that I'm really looking forward to getting up to size and breeding.
Okay. And then it's my generic question. You know how like everyone has their certain questions that they ask everybody.
Yeah.
5 years from now, you want to stay hobby, but 5 years from now, where do you really see yourself? Like, what is it? Just a focus on quality? Is it at your full limit of what you said you want it to be? What's happening in 5 years?
Yeah, I mean, I think, every year everything's going to change and stuff like that. But to answer now, I definitely want to be at a decent number. I definitely want to have some good quality stuff. I think even some of the stuff I have right now probably weed out to, bring good quality stuff. I definitely hope to be pretty deep into the puzzle project by then as well. Probably be my biggest goal. Be a decent quality number of snakes, good quality snakes, and deep into the puzzle project.
Okay, that's awesome, man. And then obviously I know how to get a hold of you, but and I put his link for his channel in the description for this, but go ahead and just shout yourself out or advertise yourself real quick if you want to.
So I'm primarily on Instagram. Anything I post on Instagram goes on the Facebook, just automatically. But just TRReptiles_IG for Instagram. You guys can message me. Check out the stories, the posts. I think I post at least once a day. And then I have YouTube, which is just TRReptiles. I haven't posted a video yet in 2019. I do hope to change that soon. Joel's kind of pushed me to making sure I do at least a top 3 video, which I hope to eventually do. But yeah, it's pretty much
your
it.
Freaking videos going, man. You have the mindset. You just need to do it.
Yeah, that's basically what it is. It's just the time to do it, the editing, and all that good stuff.
Oh my god, I'm so excited right now. Whoever else ordered this.
All right. Tom, brother, I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Man, thanks for having me. I appreciate it. This was fun.
Absolutely. You will see this guy in the future, whether it's on my channel or his channel or somewhere. But you're definitely going to be hearing the name. He's got some amazing stuff. Make sure you check him out. Thank you, everybody, for joining in tonight. And we're going to see you soon. We'll see you later, guys.
All right. Thanks, guys. See ya. Bye.